Now, our first speaker I'm going to introduce is Ola King. And Ola is a Notion ambassador and a creator, a man of many talents. So please come on up and we'll kick off the speakers.
Thanks once again for the introduction, Kat. I'm Ola King. I do a bunch of things, and one of them was presenting at Moscow last month. That was very new to me. I probably 2 years ago when we had one of this, I was very shy then. So without Moscow, I would not be able to speak to y'all today. And the reason why I was able to do that was because the first one was virtual, which helps me step into speaking in public. And I took notes on what works for me in Notion and then translated it to this. So for my day job, I work at Moz as the SEO software company as a user researcher. That's what the role is on paper. What I actually do is a lot more than that. What I do is basically ensure that Moz builds the right products and services for our customers using the insights from them. And I'm also the chair of the DEI Council, and I host the Whiteboard Friday and MozCon, which I mentioned. And once I close my Moz computer, I grab my personal computer, this one, and I do SEO consulting, Notion consulting, startup consulting, process automation consulting. I'm a Notion ambassador, and I create templates and videos and whatnot. And I'm also building a stealth marketplace slash SaaS product. So quite a lot of stuff. And there's only so much time in the day. But the good news is I don't stress about it. I do whatever I feel like doing, but still keep my priorities in check. And I'll show you how I do that. So for the Notion community, these are some of the things I've done. The SEO Growth Kit, which is a template that I have. I just update that every now and then, and it's doing well. I started the Clubhouse Notion Club on Clubhouse, which has grown to 1.2 thousand members, even though the last time I really actively ran it was at 500 members. So it's grown without me. Then I created this meme in like 5 seconds and it blew up in my face. So that was fun. I do a bunch of that too. I have Twitter accounts that no one knows is me, but it's me. And Blackroot, which was my first introduction to the Notion community. It was a resource during Black Lives Matter to learn about the Black community. All right, what we're talking about today is Notion for multi-passionate. So what is a multi-passionate? The definition changes every time, so I'm saying this without rehearsing. Multi-passionate person is someone who has a lot of interest across their career and lifetime. So today this could be a doctor. Next year you could say, I want to be a backpacker. And the next year after that, you might decide you want to be an artist. So your interests are forever changing. Multi-passionate is also called multi-potentialite, also called a generalist, jack of all trades, Jill of all trades, and Renaissance person. So whichever one resonates with you, this is the same person that I'm talking about. It's awesome being a multi-passionate person. It's a lot of fun. You are able to dabble in a lot of things. You're able to innovate more because you bring new perspective into a new field. You're able to learn quickly, and you're also able to explore different career options. But the pitfall of this is that you tend to lack direction most of the time. You have trouble transferring skills if a lot of things you're doing are too disconnected from one another. You tend to be indecisive because you can't decide on what to do. An example was this. A month ago when Ben reached out that I should do this, I had no idea what topic to do until last week because I could not decide. But once again, I've learned not to stress about that. It's a strength, not a weakness. It's a pitfall, but pitfalls doesn't always have to be a bad thing. You can be scattered brain sometimes. Your mind can be elsewhere. You're always a beginner, and you have a lot of incomplete projects, and it can be hard to manage priorities and projects. So these are all the pitfalls as a multi-passionate person. And this is where Notion helps you. So Notion can help you piece all the puzzles of how weird your brain works together. But for any productivity system to work, there are two parts. A lot of people focus on just systems, but it's actually a combination of mindset and systems. I will not talk too much about the mindset today because this is about Notion, but a lot of it is just about trusting that the dots will connect and then actually connecting them. So find the thread between what you do. Um, for me, I used to be a DJ, and at that time, I thought DJing was my passion. But I realized I didn't care too much about DJing. I just cared about solving problems and then using systems to solve them. So at the time, I was in a small town, and there was no entertainment. The way for me to entertain people, which was a problem, was to DJ. And the way to do that was to use the turntables and computer. So those are the tools. So whether it's Notion or SEO, to me, it's all the same. That's a thread that connects everything together. You have to be flexible. I don't have deadlines for any projects I'm working on, except commitments to other people, so that I don't stress myself. If I decide to not work on a project for like a month, I don't mind because I know the dots will connect eventually. I know that projects that I procrastinated doing will probably end up helping me solve something else that might not seem related. So be flexible with your time, structure, and focus, but be ruthless with your prioritization. I tend to, like, for example, I was gone to Mexico for a month, a couple of months ago, and that was my prioritization. Like, I needed fun time. I needed to take away time from all the projects I'm working, even though it was hard for me to not work on other things, but I had to do that because that's the only way for me not to stress myself out. Establish a done state. If you have a lot of passion, you can't be spending time polishing things too much. So establish a good enough a done state where you can move on to something else that might catch your interest. Have a North Star. Something that might help you with this. Murray published a template a while back called Body of Work. It's a very good template to basically figure out what your North Star is, or your values, missions, principles, so that you can be able to refer back to that as you're working on new interest and have discipline. So one thing at a time. You can do anything, but not everything, and not all at once. So multitasking is not necessarily good, but you can do a lot of things without necessarily doing all of them at once. And simplify your systems. And thankfully, you have Notion that can help you with that. And also, you can't, if you are a multi-passionate person, you can always be an expert. So it's always good to collaborate with other people. That takes your 80% to 100%. So that's the mindset aspect. Now for the systems, which Notion helps you with. So I ignored the 7 C's, but I just thought it might be cute to have, oh, C again. I just thought it might be cute to have everything in one letter. So I was, last night, spending a lot of time like looking at synonyms. But anyways, yeah, you need a system to capture your ideas, notes, and other strange things that pop up in your head. And yeah, that's, I've been playing with OpenAI's DAL-E, and it created that for me. So that's, you'll see a lot of that as I present. You need a place to collect your ideas. So inspirations, tools, praise. It's nice because sometimes when you're feeling down, it's always good to know, nice things people have said about you before to get you going. Contextualize. So you need to have dashboards or pages for different things you're working on, and they all would look slightly different. So like what I have for my Mars stuff is completely different from what I have for my Notion dashboards. You need a hub to create your projects. Sometimes those become public, like my Blackroot and SEO Growth Kit. They were created straight from Notion, and then they became public directly. You need to be able to connect all of the things you're working. I keep talking about connecting the dots and thread. Notion helps make that very easy without you having to think about it. And you should be able to convert and reuse old work. And once again, collaborate with other people. For my Notion setup, I'll show you examples of all these things I mentioned now. For my Notion setups, I use inspiration from systems like Para, Mise en Place, which is pretty much the groundwork for everything I do, which is a concept from chefs. Is like everything in its place. pretty much. Anyways, capture. So back to the list I showed you earlier. So for ideas, I have a ideas place. I call it Idea Lab, where I capture any ideas that come, and I have quick notes for principles, the rules, and the product library is linked from a product lessons in my lessons database, so I can easily access it. And then success and lessons and failures. So each time I do a project, I do a retrospective, and then just quickly tag what I learned, what worked, what didn't work. So I have a master database of successes and failures. So I know what marketing style always works. I know what channels tends to work more than others, things like that. So inbox, I have a inbox where I dump ideas. This is not clean. This is not tagged. It's literally just like a sheet of paper, but it's a way that helps me quickly capture ideas. And collect, you need to collect lessons. So as I mentioned, there's the product one, which is linked to the ideas. Each of my dashboards have linked lessons that it relates to them. I will show you more examples as we go on. But each one of these is, I clip them from either my phone or on the web, and then I quickly tag what context I would need that. So whether for business, whether for creating or project management. So sometimes my tweets are like all over the place. Like I don't have a particular theme, but they're all still me. They're all like part of who I am. And some of them are just taken from all of this insight. And then I have set up to remind me what I learned last week, what I learned last month, and they are just filters. All right, swipe files, take inspiration from everywhere, anywhere. So if I see something that looks nice, I steal it. I have a quote that says, "Good artists copy, great artists steal," and that's what I do. I steal what looks nice on the web. And collect also. This is collecting experience. So if I want to make a decision, I sometimes refer back to decisions I've made in the past that are similar. So for example, the first time I did Moscon, I wrote down what my thought process was, what I was afraid of, what the conditions were around, and what the outcome was. So next time someone asks me to do something similar, then I go and look like, oh, see, the last time you were scared, see what happened, see how it turned out. So it's good to collect those moments. So next to contextualize. So having different pages for different things you're working on. So this is my main hub that gives me quick access to all aspects of my life. Those are quick links to notes, inbox, areas, projects, blah, blah, blah. And I have my mantras, which reminds me of what I want to be. This is actually longer, but I only wanted you guys to see just 3 of those. And the priorities and deadlines are not up to date entirely. And as you would learn, I use my systems very loosely. I don't stress out about making everything perfect, because I do have a place that allows me to process things that needs to be processed as well. And you can see the priorities, tasks, goals, rewards, and milestones. The schedule is a simple table that just reminds me of what I should be doing on a certain day. So for example, today, I just have relax, and this is relaxing for me. But my tendency to want to work on different projects, I might want to say, oh, maybe I should start doing something for SEO. Then I look at my schedule, like, no, not today. And moving on to the next day. So that's my main hub that just keeps me grounded and focused. Then I have today, which is what I use this one mostly for my personal projects. So after my Moz things are done, I just look at this Notion page. It has quick access to things I need, just notes, music, food, and my schedule, nothing else, no distractions. Then I have one from Moz, which has things like reminders, which has roles and resources. So I have like 5 different roles at Moz. So each one have their own mini dashboards that have linked tools, resources, and other things that helps me get the job done. And yeah, the task, projects, and career scoreboard, that's one of my favorite ones. I use that one to, anytime I finish a major project or something that has an impact, I will note that down and then put that there. So when there is like a performance review, I don't have to even think about it. I just open my Notion and just copy and paste. And I get it done in 5 minutes, and my coworkers are struggling to submit theirs in a month. The create room, I mentioned earlier on, like the Blackroot and SEO Growth Kit are examples of things that I create in Notion and then publish. But this is my content room, which is where I write content and move them along. I haven't been publishing as much as I should, but back to the mindset, I'm not forcing myself to on under any deadline or any commitment that I know I won't keep. Connect. You want to connect everything you're doing together. So I have resources page that has master databases that I'm using across all projects. So there's a bunch of things from the general lessons, which I've mentioned a bunch of times, blogs, books, and things that I'm consuming. The admin. So I have a Notion database of database that's in the Notion glossary. So sometimes you can forget why you created something. So it's good to be able to remember. And I don't use the archive much anymore because I don't know. I just don't use it anymore. Then there's the swipe files for projects and things that I'm working on. And part of the connect is also connecting your databases together. So I have my task, which connects to my projects. Projects connect to milestones. Milestones connect to goals. Goals connect to rewards. And I can see how every one of them is moving along. And this just allows me to know that no matter how much I'm jumping from one project to another, I'm still making progress in life. And then sometimes you convert projects to another. So Blackroot was a project I created. It didn't make any money. It was not meant to. It was just meant to educate people. But then a year later, I converted the exact same thing into SEO Growth Kit, which is a pay template that does well. And that's basically the idea that I'm trying to help you understand, that it's okay to have a lot of passion, trust that a thread will connect if you just keep doing what you do and having a system to organize all of your weirdness. And thank you. And yeah, let's be friends on Twitter, Instagram, whatever works for you. Yeah, I'm Ola, and yeah, I'm done.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you so much.